Hello everyone, welcome to General Hospital Daily Channel. Please hit the subscribe button and give this episode a thumbs up. Alexis tells Willow she knows and nothing will ever be the same. Let us start with the bombshell, because when the weekly preview shows Alexis looking Willow in the eye and saying the words that confirm she knows Willow shot Drew and that she is not staying quiet about it anymore, everything about the Willow situation changes at once. Here is the context that makes this confrontation so explosive. Alexis has been one of the quieter holders of this knowledge. She was the person Trina and Kai came to first, the person who did the phone records research that verified the ringtone at the exact moment the shot was fired. She has known the truth for months. She has been sitting on it, weighing it against the various complications that surround using it, waiting for the right moment or the right leverage point or the right alignment of circumstances to make it useful rather than simply explosive. That moment has apparently arrived. The trigger is Drew's access restrictions on Scout. Drew came back from the lake with all of his mobility and all of his fury, and one of the first things he did was reinstate the barriers between Scout and the people her mother loved, Alexis very much among them. Alexis has been trying to reach Scout. She has been trying to maintain the relationship that built across the months when Drew could not be there, the relationship that gave Scout access to the family on her mother's side that Drew has been methodically cutting off. Brennan offered Alexis leverage in exchange for information about the company connected to Jocelyn's father. That exchange may or may not have happened in any completed form. The attorney-client complications around what Alexis actually knows about that company are real, and her license has already been on the line enough times that she is not going to risk it easily. But something has happened in the weeks since that conversation that has brought Alexis to this specific confrontation with Willow. The most direct possibility is the simplest one. Alexis is done waiting for the right moment to use what she knows. She is going to Willow directly and making the threat explicit. She knows Willow shot Drew. She knows the phone records and the ringtone and the affidavit evidence that has been assembled around that fact. And she is telling Willow that the silence ends now unless Willow does something to fix the situation with Drew and Scout. The specific pressure Alexis is applying is the congressional angle. Willow is a sitting congresswoman. She has institutional influence over Drew in ways that a former assistant district attorney turned lawyer simply does not. If Willow uses that influence, even informally, even just making clear to Drew that the restrictions on Scout's family access are something that Willow is willing to revisit, it could produce the outcome that Alexis has been unable to produce through her own direct approach. Willow receiving this confrontation is Willow receiving what she most feared from the direction she least expected it. Not Michael, she has managed Michael. Not Drew, she has managed the blackmail balance with Drew. Alexis, who has been in the background of this situation all summer, appearing suddenly in the foreground with the exact information that makes Willow most vulnerable. The meltdown the spoilers reference is completely understandable. Willow is being squeezed from multiple directions simultaneously. Michael has the affidavits. Alexis has the shooting knowledge. Drew has his own complicated position. And Mina, the person who has been her most consistent protector, is being warned by Brennan to create distance. The walls are closing in from every direction. Here is what makes this even more layered. If Alexis is approaching Willow without full knowledge of the Brennan alliance, without knowing that Willow and Nina and Brennan have had an ongoing arrangement that has been producing cover for Willow all summer, then Willow is going to have to figure out how to respond to a blackmail threat without accidentally revealing the full scope of the protection that has been in place. Every word she says in response to Alexis carries the risk of exposing something else. The congresswoman is now being blackmailed by the lawyer. And the congresswoman has no clean response available. Jordan's brilliant play, and Drew thinking he won when he absolutely did not. Now let us talk about what Jordan just did at Aurora, because this is one of the most quietly satisfying strategic moves the show has produced this summer, and it deserves its full examination. Drew showed up at Aurora shortly after Jordan settled into the temporary CEO position. This was not a coincidence, and it was not innocent. Drew's presence in the building, his immediate push to be involved as an advisor, his whole posture about contributing his insider knowledge of the company, all of it was Drew in strategic mode. He wants access to Aurora. He wants a foothold. He wants eyes inside the operation so he can influence what happens there. Michael shut him down. Completely reasonable. Everything Michael knows about Drew this summer, the threats, the promises of destruction, the specific way Drew has been weaponizing every relationship around him, makes trusting Drew's advisory offer an obviously bad idea. Michael said no. And then Jordan said something unexpected. She told Michael that Drew knows Aurora inside and out, that he might be worth using, that the insider knowledge he brings has value even given the complications of who he is and what he is after. Michael was surprised. Drew was delighted. He walked out of that conversation believing he had successfully charmed his way back into a position of influence in the company he was being blocked from. His confidence was restored. His sense that he has the ability to maneuver his way around any obstacle was confirmed. And then Jordan told Michael what she was actually doing. She does not trust Drew. She never trusted Drew for a second. The decision to let him in was not Jordan being convinced by his apology tour. It was Jordan making the specific strategic calculation that keeping an enemy close is more useful than keeping them at a distance. An enemy who knows he is being watched adjusts his behavior accordingly. An enemy who thinks he has won, who believes he has successfully inserted himself into a position of trust, does not guard himself the same way. Drew wants access to Aurora. Jordan is giving him access to Aurora. And what Jordan is getting in return is a front-row seat to whatever Drew is actually planning. Every conversation he wants to have, every area of the company he expresses interest in, every question he asks, and every direction his attention moves, Jordan gets to observe all of it from the closest possible position. This is exactly the strategy that Michael used with Willow at the gatehouse. Keep your enemies where you can monitor them. Jordan and Michael have arrived independently at the same conclusion about how to handle the people in their lives who cannot be trusted but cannot be simply eliminated from the picture. That strategic alignment between them is the kind of thing that creates a very specific kind of professional respect. Drew's confidence has always been one of his defining qualities. It served him well when it was matched with good judgment. Right now, his confidence is operating independently of accurate assessment. He thinks he talked his way into a meaningful position, when actually he has been placed into a contained environment where his movements are being watched by exactly the person he was trying to get around. Jordan is in a strong position here precisely because she does not need to pretend anything. She does not need to perform trust or warmth toward Drew. She can watch him, notice what he is interested in, track where his attention goes, and understand what he is actually building, without handing him any actual control over anything that matters. The specific thing Drew is after in the Aurora context, given everything he has been doing this summer, almost certainly connects to his larger war against Sunny. Aurora has assets and relationships and information that could be useful in that war. Every time Drew is in that building asking about something, Jordan is getting closer to understanding what the war actually looks like from his side. That information could be enormously valuable depending on how the Sunny situation develops, the week ahead, and what everything is building toward. And now, let us look at the full picture of what the preview for the week of August 24th to 31st is telling us, because this is not simply a week of individual storyline developments. It is the week that the summer has been building toward, the week when multiple simultaneous pressure points reach their explosive potential at the same time. Alexis confronting Willow with the shooting knowledge is the most immediate and most direct of the coming developments. Every person who knows about the shooting is now in a different relationship to that knowledge than they were last month. Michael has it as organized blackmail material in the form of affidavits. Alexis has it as personal leverage for a situation that affects her directly. Drew has it as a complicated shared secret bound by the mutual interest in not blowing everything up. The number of people who know is large enough now that the question of when it becomes public is not if, but which channel it comes through. The Congresswoman angle is the one that is most politically explosive. Whatever happens to Willow in family court and in local legal situations, her congressional career is a separate thing that operates in a different arena. The information about the shooting does not need to produce a criminal conviction to destroy that career. It needs to produce enough credible documentation to make her position politically untenable. And with multiple witnesses and phone records and affidavits, the documentation exists. Jordan's position at Aurora is going to be tested by everything that happens this week on the Drew front. She has Drew in a contained position at the company. She is watching him. She is also aware of the scheme that Drew and Ava have been building, the frame on Sunny for the Pentonville attack. If that frame produces the consequences it was designed to produce, Jordan's position as CEO of an Aurora that Drew has access to becomes a specific complication. She is managing an enemy inside the company while the enemy's external actions are creating chaos that is going to touch multiple people around her. Thank you for watching. For daily update, don't forget to subscribe the channel and hit the bell icon.